what's going on? So today we're doing kind of a video feature. This is a Mercedes-Benz C450, or a lot of people call it by what the next update sort of call it is the C43, which was the next year, right? This is a 2016.
Yeah, so basically the 2016, the C450 is just the car that comes before the C43 AMG. Call it what you want. It's not a real AMG. It's not a hand-built V8, so that's how you break the argument right there, guys.
So it's really dirty, but it's, in my opinion, the perfect daily driver. It's beautiful. It is quick. So if you're new to the channel, I have a Turbo E46. This car is pretty much head-to-head with me. He's rocking the channel right there, but he's pretty much head-to-head with me. We are fender to fender pretty much every race when my car is running top. Not every time he has beaten me, and I have beaten him, but for it,
whoever hits boost first is really
the races that we're doing, it's really coming down to me shifting or how the cars are performing in the weather.
Yeah, these things are sick and low light. I don't know how.
So we're just doing a little point of view. I'll ask him some questions. You can see some drivability. He's not the quietest or nicest driver in the world. So there's that. How long have you owned this car?
It'll be coming up on 3 years in February. February 28th to be exact.
So the highlights of the car, what is your favorite part about this car?
I'd have to say just the drivability of the car and being able to use this car all year round, especially with the kind of power it has. It's not all usable during the winter, but I can definitely daily drive this thing whenever I want.
Right, so it's all-wheel drive. It's what bias?
It's rear bias. It's 67-33, so nice. 67 rear.
So yeah, it does get sideways. He has gotten it out, and it's a ton of fun. And what do you think it's making for power? How much does it make stock?
Stock, it makes 362 at the crank. Mercedes is obviously known to underrate that power a little bit, so they say it makes just under 400 crank, 400 torque. Right now I'm on a stage 1 tune, 93, or actually I'm on the E30 right now. I probably shouldn't be with the tune I have, but it's safe to say it's a little over 400 wheel horsepower, 480 wheel torque. So
E30 is a E85 blend. How do you do that? Do you just blend it at the pump?
So it's, yeah, I blended at the pump, so it's a 4 gallons of 93 to 1.5 gallons of E85.
Okay, so that comes out to E30. Right. So what do you tune down? What do you tune with? How do you go about tuning with these cars?
This specific car is tuned through Eurocharge. I originally sent the ECU out to them, and then literally a week later, they actually came out with OBD2 flashing. So I ended up getting the handheld, and I flashed like 10 different tunes on this thing.
Nice. So with the popping, you'll hear that kind of often. Does it come like that from the factory? Do you have that tuned in or what?
It does come like that from the factory, but it originally was only over 4K RPMs. Then the first thing I did with this car, I saws all the mufflers off. You could hear it a lot more then. Now I just have it tuned to be a little bit more inconsistent, so it doesn't sound so fake.
Right. So if you want to get out of here and so you can hear some of the pops. So it's a bit cold out. It's about 30 degrees out. Yeah, you can hear some of the popping. But it sounds really good. What exhaust setup do you have on it right now?
I have the original Velasquez Sons and Mufflers. Muffler delete and resonator delete. Cost me 180 bucks.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So.
And I would like to apologize right now for all the creaks and rattles in my interior right now. I've got stuff laying all over this car, so I apologize for any weird noises you guys hear.
Right, so obviously this is a great daily driver, but one of the highlights of the car is not only is it a great daily, it's a great, driving car, it's actually pretty quick. What are some of your favorite kills in this car, racing?
M4s and C63s are my favorite. Because for a long time I ran a badge on the back. It was just the C300 badge. And they'd look over and they'd be like, oh, what's done to that thing? And I would just tell them it's stock. And they were just kind of like mind blown by the fact they got dusted by a C300.
Right. So we did a race with an M4 and it was really, really close. But I had a passenger, or you had a passenger, which was me. And I think this car was, you had some kind of weird blend in it, or no blend, or
no? It's every time I refill this car, it takes about 40 miles to readjust to the blend, because it's not, I don't have a tune for E85. I just have the car set to run a little bit higher timing, and then the car will adjust from that to compensate for E85.
Right. So reliability, you know, cost of maintenance. What do you have to say about that? A lot of people are scared to buy a Mercedes because of the fact that it you know, it comes with a high price point, and then on top of that, there's high maintenance costs. You know, and it's known to have some, you know, recalls and stuff like that. Every car is.
Yeah. So like you said, they're scared to buy a Mercedes. One, because of the reliability. This car specifically, I've had it tuned for 40K miles. I beat the living hell out of this thing. It didn't have its first oil change for 25,000 miles, and I beat the hell out of this thing all day long. It's running double the boost from factory. I've never had a single problem with the motor. Anything that's ever been a problem with this car is something that I've caused. I got a sensor go bad because I was in a rush to take out, I used to have a piggyback on the car, and I had to take it in for service, and I was in a rush to take it out and broke a sensor. But everything motor-wise has been good. There's been a few electronic issues with like the headlights and stuff, just because someone did crash the car back in 2017, and that's been kind of what caused the issues the car currently has. But everything powertrain and motor-wise has been 100% reliable. Fingers crossed.
Right. So coming from an aspect of this car is leased, right?
It is. A lot of people already know this. My mom's a manager at Mercedes-Benz out here where I live. There was a killer deal for the way these things leased. So my original plan was to lease it and then take advantage of the buyout, because my buyout's going to be pretty cheap. So that's why I'm doing all this stuff to a leased car.
Right. So with the lease, do you recommend that? So I feel a lot of people watching this are going to watch this and try and find out more information. They're interested in buying the car. You know, it's still fairly new for Mercedes. I mean, it's a few years old now, but this was the first kind of in between the C63 and the C300, correct? For the C-Class?
Yes, this was the first car to bridge that gap. Before, there was only a C300 or a C63. There was nothing in between. I mean, you had the C350, but that was the previous model, the W204, and it had like 30 more horsepower than the C300, so it really wasn't worth it. But like he was saying, if you're looking to lease a car and you want to buy it out in the end, you really have to know what you're looking for. Like, basically with a lease, you're paying for the depreciation of the car. So unless you, like, there's really no way to know, but unless you have that connection, there's no point in leasing a car and buying it out unless there's like a killer deal on it. So.
Right. So, and for value with these cars, how are they holding their value? This is now about 3 years old now. Do you know what value versus what, you know, what it actually cost when you bought it?
So the sticker on this car specifically, it's got quite a few high-end options on it. I got the Burmester surround sound stereo, panoramic sunroof, sport package, all that good stuff. The sticker on this car was $62. I believe right now they're selling at dealers anywhere between $35 and $38 for one with around 45 to 50,000 miles. These cars don't hold, any Mercedes really don't hold value compared to other cars on the market unless it's an AMG. That being said, the C450 AMG does hold a little bit more value than this because it's got AMG badges written all over it. But this thing depreciates worse than a used mattress.
When you got the car, you said you got a really good deal. At the time, what car did you really want? And was this kind of a compromise from what you really wanted? And what was in the price range that you were looking at? Or if you could go back and get something else, would you get a different car? Or, you know?
Absolutely not. So I had a C300 for the longest time, actually. I leased that car. I had it for about 3.5 years. Throughout that 3.5 years, 2 of those years I didn't have my license, and I wanted a car that kind of blended in, because my C300, it was slammed to the ground, it had wheels, it was stupid loud, and I'd always get caught driving it without a license. The C450 was actually, I wanted this car for the longest time. I heard about it right after I got my car and stuff like that. So this is the car I kind of had my mind set on, whether there was a good deal on it or not. But that deal made me pull the trigger a little bit quicker. I'm kind of a little bit upset about that, because if I would have waited like 2 to 3 more months, the C43s would have been released and I could have had one of those. But there's really no main difference. I like the 7-speed a little bit more than the 9-speed. That's the main difference between the two cars. They both have a bi-turbo V6. That being said, I like this car a little bit better because it's better with rolls. It doesn't dig for shit. Excuse my language.
No,
I'm really happy with this car.
Right, so that was going to be one of my questions, is what's the difference between the C450 and the C43? Because it seems to be in a lot of the videos I watch, people kind of group it together as the same car, even though it's not, because this was such a short run. This was kind of, they put their foot in the water, and then they decided they wanted to go full out with an AMG badged car, so to say, because it isn't really a true AMG in my opinion, and your opinion, and most people's opinions. It's a bi-turbo V6 with AMG badges slapped on to be kind of the 335, so to say, of the C-Class. I think this was supposed to be mostly a competitor with like BMW and Audi, how they had a sporty mid car between their base model and their performance packages.
Yeah, so like you asked, the main difference between the C450 and the C43, they're both marketed as AMGs. This car has a twin turbo V6. The C43 has the same exact motor, same tuning, same everything. The only difference is that the C43 has a 9-speed transmission. Both of the transmissions are tuned by AMG as well as the motor. But the biggest difference would be the amount of AMG badges. This car comes with 2 little AMG badges on the side. Nothing in the instrument cluster, nothing in the door sills, and that's where the C43 is different. They have those badges everywhere, so that's kind of what Mercedes did to better place that car in the market so it would sell a little bit better.
Dude, you're gonna get stuck.
Alright guys, here's a little POV video of my car. I figured I'd just do this for Alex so he can throw it in the video.